Hello friends, welcome to Daily News Analysis on The Hindu by Daily Shots. In this video, we are going to deal with topics from editorial, international and business pages on UPSC and TNPC perspective, and other relevant articles are explained and shared in the below description box in the format of a PDF, and the relevant timestamping had been provided to navigate to the relevant news article directly. So now let's go into the session. MPLADS, its suspension and why it must go. So in this article, the author explains the need of MP-LADS scheme and also the reason for the abolition of this scheme. So the government says as a reason the abolition of MP-LADS is to strengthen the government's effort in managing the challenges and adverse impact of this pandemic. So basically, what is MP-LADS? So a member of parliament has a choice to suggest to the district collectors for the works around costing around 5 crores per annum to be taken up in his or her constituencies. So basically, the problem arising in the usage of MP-LADS is that it violates the separation of powers, as simply putting the scheme into effect gives the member of parliament the executive function to the legislator. So it needs to be completely abolished is what the author insists. According to Comptroller Auditor General's observation, the utilization of the funds is ranging between 49 to 90% of the booked amount. So in the upcoming points, the CAG's observation is being inferred. So he says the scheme envisages, that means it is imagined with the works under the scheme should be limited to asset creation of about 78% of the works which is recommended for improvement of existing assets, and the wide variations in quantities executed against the quantities specified in the bill of quantities, and there is no accountability in the expenditure in terms of quality and quantity, and the delays in issuing work orders, and also extension of the time granted to contractors, registration of the assets created which is not maintained, so the location and existence of the asset could not be verified. Failure of internal and control mechanism is also a negative point. So as a statistics, the India Spend reports taken from the data of Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, around 298 of 542 members of the 16th Lok Sabha, 508 MPs, which is 93.55%, did not or could not even utilize the entire MP-LADS fund, amounting from the May 4, 2014 till December 10, 2018, in the span of 4 years and 7 months. So the amount which had been aggregated is around 1757 crores, which has been released for MP-LADS account. Around 281 crores had been utilized by all 543 member of parliament till May 15, 2015. So technically, only 16% of the money spent in 1 year is spent in 1 year by all the MPs, which is putting it together. So the MPLA scheme, which had begun in 1983, 5,000 crore rupees, which is unspent with various district authorities by May 15, 2015. So basically, the points which the author puts forward is that it is being used to satisfy the people of opinion makers or opinion influencers and the favorite contractors. So the funds are being dispersed or diversed on the basis of to gratify their satisfaction on the basis of opinion makers and opinion influencers and favorite contractors. So the constitutional validity of the MP-LADS in 1919 and the scheme was also being held constitutional by the Supreme Court. But the common experience is not supporting the the large gap between found being in the actual implementation of this MP-LADS scheme, and it seems there is a complete escapism by the from the attention of the court. So going forward, so as a point moving forward, the reports of underutilization and the mutualization of the MP-LADS funds continues to surface at the regular intervals, and there are no serious attempts seen to do anything on this problem. So for an example, the author quotes a construction work of a fountain in an open space of an unauthorized settlement in the Juggi Jopdi colony, which did not have provisions of drinking water, was given to a contractor who was in relation with the member of parliament. So, as a solution, the author insists that converting the 2 year suspension into a complete abolition of this undesirable and unconstitutional scheme. A grain stockist with a role still relevant. So, in this article, the author speaks about the Food Corporation of India, which was established under the Food Corporation Act 1964, and its present working, and also comparing it with its previous working and the working nature, and creating an requirement as to whether overhaul is required for the FCI on its operation to modernize its storage capacity. So, in this article, the FCI, which was established, the Food Corporation of India, established under the Act of 1964, was a forefront of India's quest of self-sufficient in rice and wheat. Over the time, it was regarded as an expensive and inefficient system. And in 1970s and 80s, poor storage conditions meant a lot of grains which was lost to pest, mainly to rats, and diversion of grains was widespread. So basically, in 1990s, the FCI was often referred to as food corruption of India. On technical terms, 77 million tons of grains were stored in godowns, and new procurement of harvest of wheat was in forefront. So this shows the FCI was facing a serious shortage of storage problem, and the FCI lacked a proactive liquidation policy for these excessive stocks. And also the FCI enabled purchases by states and non-governmental organizations directly from FCI depots and through e-auctions conducted for the open market sales schemes, which is referred to as OMSs. And the widespread notion was that FCI was lacking a capability and simply not moving fast enough and could do much more. So, to see into what are all the challenges which are seen by the FCI is that the FCI is overwhelmingly reliant on the rail transport over the road transport. But the data shows that 2019 to 2020 till February, 25% of the grain moved was through roadways. But this long recognized that road movement is often better suited for emergencies and for remote areas. And the big container movement to not being dominant is more cost effective and the efficient way to transport the goods in terms of this current situation. And the rapid responses which is required from the state and the FCI side is being insisted in the upcoming points. So the state government and the FCI to maintain the stock at block quarters or the panchayats in food insecure or remote areas where the markets have been severely disrupted. Next, the flexibility to local governments to access these grains in the short notice without any interventions. So it allows the panchayats also to sell the grains locally at the pre-specified prices until the supply is restored. And other self-help groups like the National Rural Livelihoods Missions (NRLM) could also be tasked, which will help in the last mile distribution of the food aid to the poor other than the public distribution systems. So the government has insisted to follow the first in and first out system, where the grain that has been procured earlier needs to be distributed first to ensure the older stocks are liquidated. So there needs to be a bridge. Basically, there needs to be a bridge between the food producer organization and combination of FCI and National Agricultural Cooperative Marketing Federations of India Limited, so as to establish a connection between the FPOs and the customers, where the FPOs could directly sell their producers' perishable goods to the customers. So in the next part, the author says some of the concerns on the FCI's role. First, the cost of the food subsidies. As per the analysis of 2001 to 2016, around 60% of the cost of acquisition, procurement, distribution and carrying stocks are in fact transfers to the farmers, not all of it, what is accounted as subsidy, therefore represent a waste of resources. Along with this subsidies issue, the FCI also is burdened with the debt, around 2.55 lakh crores in the March 2020 in the form of National Small Saving Funds loan alone. So the second point of concern on FCI is that extended food distribution of subsidized grain is equivalent to dumping and depressing food prices locally, in turn affecting the farmers again. So the FCI basically needs an overhauling in its product operations and in modernization of its storage conditions. App for one reason. This article explains the recent acquisition surged around the Arogya Setu app and its usage. So this article, the author explains the problem associated with this usage of Arogya Setu app. So this this app falls short of established legal standard for the protection of privacy of any people who is using this app. Lawyers and activists have raised concern on the matter of privacy, that also fear that the assessment made on the basis of information collected may be used to restrict public movement and access. And a proper legal backing and the rule limiting the purpose for which the data can be used or spelling out the entities authorized to use them are all valid concerns is a need of the hour, because this can become a surveillance tool later. So posing the examples of European Union where it had laid down guidelines to effect that such app use should be voluntary, and Israel's Supreme Court recently struck down the emergency powers given to the country's intelligence agency to track the phone location of COVID-19 patients without enabling any proper legislation. So it would be well advised to heed privacy concerns, and the government has to take a proper concern and a legislation to resort to the methods that causes the least harm for this Arogya Setu app. Of course, in this article, the author explains the unclear nature of Kaveri Water Management Authority. So, as per the center's ruling on April 24th notification bringing down the Kaveri Water Management Authority under the administrative control of Union Ministry of Jal Shakti. So, this has created a problem, an upset to the Farmers Association, thinking that the authority will become a puppet to the center. So, as a background of this Kaveri Management Authority, it was created by the Supreme Court's direction in February 2018, and from June 2018 to May 2019, when the Union Ministry of Water Resource was in existence, no public notification on the Kaveri Water Management Authority was being designated as an organization under the ministry. And the predecessor of this Kaveri Water Management Authority was the Kaveri River Authority from 1998 to 2018, with Prime Minister as the head chairman. Chief Ministers of the basin states are members, and Union Ministry of the Water Resource had the administrative control. And the Kaveri Water Management Authority has had only one part time head. The chairman was the Central Water Commission attached to the ministry, which means to say that it had only a part-time head calling the chairman of Central Water Commissions attached to the Ministry of Water Resource, and additionally 8 interstate river water boards under the Jal Shakti Ministry was there. So along with this Kaveri Water Management Authority, 4 of the bodies including Krishna and Godavari Water Management Boards, which has been in existence since the bifurcation of Andhra in 2014 and reorganization of Andhra Pradesh, were designated to the under the ministry. So the Kaveri Water Management Authority, so this authority poses a lapse on its administrative issues. So the center can be blamed for the way the Kaveri Water Management Authority functions, because the authority does not have a full-fledged chairman. Center can make the authority fully operational when the southwest monsoon is about to set in, and the parties should realize that the electoral gains and losses are not always linked to their standby on any one issue, because it is a lifeline for Tamil Nadu's rice bound. is what the author insists. COVID-19 and India's fiscal conundrum. This article explains the fiscal problem faced by the country. So, as per the report of IMF, the growth forecast for India in 2020 is 1.9 percentage from previously estimated 5.8 percentage. And in April, World Bank's estimation shows growth as 1.5 percentage to 2.8 in financial year 2020-21, and it is the lowest since the start of 1991 economic reforms. But while comparing the India's fiscal stimulus to other countries, it had obliged to share $1.7 trillion as a stimulus package, which is less than 1% of country's GDP, whereas in case of Japan it is 20% and Malaysia 16.2% and Singapore 12.2% of its GDP. So the need of the hour for India, at least 5% of the GDP, which is around 10 trillion rupees to support the health and the economic well-being of the most vulnerable and the MSME sectors. So the relief package in Asia for the well-off countries, financing is done by issuing the bonds given their global demand. And 50 struggling low-income countries with limited resources to tackle this pandemic have turned to International Monetary Fund for help. And the G7 countries had offered debt relief to the low-income countries by suspending their debt service payments. So for India, the Asian Development Bank and the World Bank had committed to offer 1.5 billion and 1 billion respectively. Further funds are sought from the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank. But owing to the government's current trend of around 72% of GDP, aggressive stimulus spending may put a surge in India's gross public debt and may also become negative in impacting its credit rating. And the fiscal responsibility and budget management constraints are relaxed. Given the India's limited demand for domestic bonds, there is a need for higher investment through foreign direct investments in government securities. There are also points stated by the author, like the country can spend $476 billion of foreign reserves towards this pandemic issue as a fiscal stimulus, but it's a risky option in the light of India's sizable current account deficit and heavy dependence on short-term capital inflows. So the pressure on its balance of payment is increasing while comparing the utilization of the foreign exchange reserve, which does not seem to be viable at the moment. So, as going forward, the author suggests that the proper governance of any massive fiscal spending is to be taken care of by the government, and a clear need to start reprioritizing the expenditure away from the low priorities and expenditure towards the areas of health and social safety nets for low income households. A way out of pandemic. In this article, the author emphasizes the production of personal protective equipment and using this as the mass scale production to revive the economy. So, citing out the example of South Korea, where the mass scale testing to segregate the infected from the uninfected, um, while comparing it with India, where the adopted strategy is the national lockdown without extensive testing. And the good rabi yield in this upcoming months is posed with the severe labor shortage, as the experienced and the skilled workers face difficulties in harvesting, transportation and the sale of their produce. So the author suggests that at least the production of essentials can be revived in this lockdown, um, even if it is maintained elsewhere. So the possibility of mass transmission poses the next problem. So, by posing the unemployment option, a mass scale production of the test kits, and the personal protective equipments, etc., will have two effects apart from healthcare dimensions on the economy. First, this will increase the direct employment in the test kit and PPE production industries. And the essential sectors is at the core of this strategy, which has the direct linkage with the agricultural sector. Second, the mass scale production of PPE and the test kits may be thought as a wastage of resource in the long term, but the equipments are anyway consumables. They will not leave a trace of unused stocks in the long run. So, an economy functioning in the way that is being proposed by the author herein in the medium run may give us time to reflect on how to confront issues of the climate change as well. Thank you, friends, for watching. That's all from today's daily news analysis. The relevant fact check points had been added in the last page of the PDF. So give me a thumbs up if you like the video and subscribe to my channel.